Today I am talking all about something that we have all experienced at one point or another, and something that, if I'm honest, is a little bit uncomfortable and just not very nice to talk about sometimes. I am talking about losing followers. Yeah, I said it, it's the absolute worst, right? You pour your heart and soul into creating content, maybe you even do a little happy dance as your follower count inches up, and then bam, you wake up the next day and it feels like you've taken 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards. If this has happened to you, and let's be real, it probably has, know that you are not alone. Losing followers is completely normal. It happens to everyone, even those massive accounts that you look up to and think, God, if only I had their following. Yeah, it happens to them too. Probably just in bigger numbers. So today's episode is going to go through some of the most common reasons you might be seeing your follower count drop and why. And in a lot of cases, I'm going to talk about why it's actually a good thing. But before I dive into all that good stuff, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to Show Up and Be Heard. The podcast exists to help women like you simplify your business and your life so that you can stop feeling so overwhelmed. I am your host, Becci McAvoy, owner and founder of Be Heard Socials, and I am an award-winning social media marketer and international speaker who specialises in content strategy and organic growth on social media. If you want to cut through the noise and BS and get practical, actionable advice tailored specifically to make social media marketing accessible and easy to understand, or if you want to be part of a supportive community where women entrepreneurs can feel connected and inspired to achieve their dreams, then keep listening because you are in the right place. To be the first to find out when new episodes go live and to get more tips like the ones you hear in this podcast, make sure you join my email community through the link in the show notes. And whether you have followed me for a while or you are brand new here, I am so grateful for you. Right then, let's get started with this week's episode and let's get talking about those dreaded unfollows. Right, okay, so first up, I am not going to sit here and pretend that you should feel absolutely brilliant when people unfollow you because, like, let's be real, it feels horrible and it sucks and you put a lot of hard work into getting those followers. So no, it doesn't feel nice when people unfollow you. However, what I do want to give you is a reassuring thought. Some followers just aren't meant to stick around, and that's actually great news for you. So let me explain a little bit. First off, there's different reasons that you can lose followers, and I'm just going to go through some of them. So you might be losing followers because they were fake or bot accounts, in which case, like, that's okay. Someone's not actively choosing to unfollow you. They were fake or bot accounts in the first place. These are the accounts that come in, follow a bunch of people, then disappear again. They're like the ghosts of the Instagram world, and the ghosts and the devils of the Instagram world. They are not going to engage with you anyway. And honestly, you are better off without them. So yeah, that number of people who follow you might have gone down, but actually they can be quite damaging to your account because they're not going to be engaging with your content. And that doesn't send good signals to the algorithm. So you really are better off without them. Think of it as like a little cleanup or a little cleanse of your account, a little clutter on your follower list, a little less clutter on your follower list, which can actually help improve your engagement rate. And that is a good thing. So that's one reason people might unfollow you that you absolutely shouldn't worry about. Those unfollows don't matter. It's annoying because your numbers have gone down, but remember, it's not all about those numbers. The success of your social media isn't based on that, and that can actually be a good thing. On a similar vein, but different, another reason people might be unfollowing you is because they're playing the follow-unfollow game, which is a load of BS and you do not want to get involved in. You know the one, they follow you hoping that you'll follow them back, and if you don't, they unfollow you, and it's really annoying. And look, that's their tactic, not yours. And you're not responsible for sticking to their game plan, and it is not a game you want to get involved in because it's rubbish and it doesn't work. It doesn't help you. It's no loss on your end. They weren't going to be an engaged follower necessarily anyway. They weren't necessarily, if you haven't followed them back, it's because they weren't quite right for you. And yeah, again, a bit like the first option, it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And it can actually be a good thing. What you want is a follower list and an audience and a community of the right people, not people that are only following you so that you follow them back. So that's the second one. Okay, third reason that people might be unfollowing you. And this can be a bit harder to take, but again, is one that I would say that you shouldn't worry about. So people might unfollow you because your services or your prices or just your overall vibe wasn't right for them. And that is totally okay. You want followers who are genuinely interested in what you're offering and who resonate with you and your business, your vibe, your values, your energy. So if someone leaves because they don't feel that connection, their departure is actually making space for someone who will, and is actually a good thing. And actually, I think this is the clearest indication that you are nailing your socials and you are nailing your brand. Because if you have got your brand on point, you should be rejecting the people that aren't right for you. And it's important to remember, I hear lots of people say, if, like in this case, that's about them, that's not about you. No, do you know what? It's not about them. It's not about them or you. It's just about you not being right for each other. And that's okay. It doesn't make either of you right or wrong. It's okay. It just means that you're not right for them, and they have gone elsewhere. And like I said, it opens space to get the right people. And so I would take it as a really, really positive message and a clear indicator that you are getting your brand bang on right, and you are showing up authentically. You're showing up in the way that's right for you and your business. If they don't align with that and they unfollow you because of that, then that's okay, because they weren't the right people for you anyway. So remember that each time you lose a follower that didn't align with your brand, it's worth a little cheer. And I would, well, I don't know, do you want to do a cheer? I don't know, but make yourself feel better about it, because it is a good thing, because this ultimately benefits your engagement rate again, and it makes your audience stronger, more loyal and more engaged. I would rather have a smaller audience of loyal, engaged cheerleaders and a strong community than I would have hundreds and thousands of followers, honestly, because that will get you better results for your business. So those are 3 reasons that people might unfollow you, that honestly I would say don't matter, or would say that is a good thing, and that you shouldn't worry about, you shouldn't think about, and you shouldn't give yourself a hard time about. Now, there are some unfollows that are worth a second look. It's not all about like, you're not right for me and goodbye, good riddance. Some of them are worth a second look and might make you want to think about things. So let's talk about those unfollowers that might sting a bit, and the ones we actually can do something about and want to do something about. So these can be a bit harder to accept. And I was going to say you need to be resilient with this. To be honest, even with the unfollows that don't matter, you need to be resilient, because it's hard. Like, we're all human. We don't want people to unfollow us. It is hard. But these, the people who unfollow you that actually you would want to stay following you, is definitely a bit harder to accept. And it's worth a bit of reflection. And you have to be quite strong in yourself to be able to genuinely reflect on that, because in these cases it's actually some of the most helpful feedback that you can get on your content and strategy. So one big reason you might be losing followers that you actually don't want to lose is that your bio doesn't match the content that you are posting. So think about it this way: someone comes across and looks at your profile, they come across and find you, they recommended you, and whatever it might be, they read your bio and they think, oh my God, this looks great. They follow you, and that's awesome, that's brilliant. But then your posts don't align with what they're expecting or what they want or what you've said that you're going to deliver. And over time, if people don't feel like they're getting what they signed up for, they may end up unfollowing. So it's worth taking the time to take a closer look at your bio if you're seeing lots of unfollows, and make sure it is a true reflection of what you're sharing. And if it's not, have a conversation with yourself where it's like, right, do I need to think about the content I'm putting out there or the way that I'm showing up? Or do I want to change my bio? It doesn't mean that you have to change your content, but take some time to reflect on that and have a look on that. I did an episode in season 1, I believe, on how to nail your Instagram bio. So I will link to that in the show notes and you can give it a listen if you want to. But yeah, if you're seeing lots of unfollows, that might be something that you want to have a look at. Okay. Another reason that you might lose followers that you actually want to think about and do something about is your posting and ghosting. Like, ouch. I know, right? We've all been there. Life gets busy and sometimes it's hard to keep up with engagement. I get it. This isn't about beating yourself up or giving yourself a hard time. But if you are regularly posting and not replying to comments, or if you're not engaging with your followers in return, it can make your audience feel like they're talking to a wall, and no one wants that. You don't want to be putting in all that hard work to getting content out there, getting the engagement that you want, and then ghosting that engagement. I've also done an episode recently on things to think about with engagement, what it actually is and how to do it. So I will link to that in the show notes too, rather than going into detail about it here. But the main thing really to say is, if you are struggling to keep up with engagement, consider setting aside a little time each day to engage with your followers, because it really can make a world of difference. So that can be the reactive engagement where you're replying to comments and you've actually got that time set out to do it, or it can be some proactive engagement to grow your account. And even if you are losing those followers that we spoke about earlier that you don't need to worry about, you can be going out there and proactively getting the kind of followers that you do want. So yeah, I won't go into detail about the proactive engagement or how to do it, because there's a whole episode dedicated to that. I will link to that in the show notes if you want to give it a listen. But yeah, that really can make a difference. So don't put all the hard work in and then fall at the last hurdle when your hard work's paying off and you are just ghosting it. Okay. Finally, I think this is the final one. And this one's quite a big one to have a look at, and that you do want to be very honest with yourself about. So maybe your content just isn't relatable or adding value. And this one is really tough to take, but it is crucial. So if people aren't finding what you're sharing helpful, they're not finding it inspiring or entertaining in some way, they are likely to leave if they're looking at their followers. We live in a world where people are constantly consuming content, and if yours doesn't resonate, people might move on. And you do need to look at whether you've got complacent with your content. I talk about repurposing content a lot, and it's a really beneficial thing to do. But I see lots of people get stuck in a rut with that, where they're churning out just the same content that wasn't getting results necessarily the first time around. It's still not getting them results, and they're getting frustrated with it. And I get it, because it helps them get content out there, and it helps you get content out there. But if that content isn't resonating, isn't getting the engagement you want, or you're seeing lots of unfollowers, you need to critically look at it and see how you might want to review that. And I always find this really interesting when people talk about oh, when I put my face out there, it gets loads of engagement. And when I put personal stuff out there, it gets loads of engagement because people are resonating with it. And it's not to say that you should always be putting posts out to generate engagement, because that's exactly what my boss framework talks about. And I will also link to that in the show notes so that you can find out more about what the boss framework is, because it's important that you're putting posts out there that are never going to get good engagement. Like, selling posts aren't designed to get good engagement, for example. They're designed to get people to click links and buy from you and all that kind of stuff. But I find it really interesting when people say that, because I think, and I've got no necessarily got evidence to back this up, but I do think if you get a lot of engagement on a post, it's not always that people aren't seeing your other posts, it's that it hasn't resonated with them. So if they're seeing your personal post, someone has to have seen that in the first place to engage with it, and it takes off, and that's great because it's resonating with them. And it might be, I see a lot of people go, nobody's seeing my posts. It might not be that people aren't seeing your posts. It might be that your posts aren't oh God, I've completely lost the word that I'm looking for. Encouraging them to, or making them want to engage in your posts. And that can be quite a hard pill to swallow, but you might want to have a look at that and just try and mix it up a bit and try some new things too. Like I said, that's not to say, I'm talking about engagement here and was talking about unfollows. That's not to say, only put the personal posts out there and only do that kind of stuff, but try and follow the boss framework to get the sort of like whole approach to social media to sort of make it work for you. Because people, like I said, over time will unfollow if they're not getting value or what they want from your account. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a very important thing to do and a very valuable thing to do to be successful on your social media. So let's think about adjusting your strategy. Like I've just talked about having a look at that. And I have touched on some of these, but I'm just going to recap on some of them as well, because I think, just a bit of a roundup, and maybe add some other things in. Let's talk about adjusting your strategy and what you should do if you are finding that people are unfollowing you and it's for reasons that you don't want them to. Not those first few reasons that we spoke about, the second lot of reasons that we spoke about. Okay, so first up, like I said, take a step back and do an audit of your profile. Look at your bio, look at your recent posts, even look at the comments on them. Are they in alignment? Are you speaking to the right audience? If not, this might be a good time to adjust things if they are feeling off. You can also ask yourself, what value are you providing to your followers? Value doesn't have to be a big educational post every single time. It could be humor, inspiration, or connection. And if you're still unsure, reach out. I am always here to give you an outside perspective on what's working, what could be improved, and where you might be able to make a few tweaks. And I do this in the Boss Your Socials Club. So reach out and ask for help if you want it. Or I also have one-to-one services where I can help you with that as well. So yeah, do have a look at it. I also have a free download, which is 5 mistakes I see people making, or small businesses making on social media, that gives you a list of what the mistakes I see are and a checklist of actions to take. So some of them I've mentioned in this podcast, but not all of them. So if you want to check that out, I will also link to that in the show notes too. But yeah, basically, critically review yourself, make a few tweaks, or reach out and ask for help, whether that be from me through the Boss Your Socials Club or any of my services, or your business community of friends. But you want those people that will be honest with you and not just tell you it's great and Instagram's really hard and people are unfollowing you and there's nothing you can do, because often there is stuff that you can do about it. So yeah, I really hope that helps. I know some of that was uncomfortable to hear. I know there was some harsh truths in there. And I know that it's not a very nice thing. Like, I know all of this and I do all of this stuff, but it is rubbish when your follower count goes down, because you put a lot of work and energy and it's really hard not to take it personally. But hopefully this will give you an idea of when you shouldn't take it personally, and not when you should take it personally, but when there's some things that you can do about it. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Like I said, losing followers can feel personal, but it's often just a part of the social media game. Focus on those who are genuinely excited about what you have to offer. They are the ones showing up. They are the ones worth showing up for every day. And remember, you are not alone in this. We are all navigating the same ups and downs. We are all feeling the rejection at certain points. And it's a massive credit to you. You are a rock star for putting yourself out there and showing up in the first place. So next time you notice a drop in your followers, take a deep breath and look at it as an opportunity for growth, and keep moving forward. Thank you so much for listening to Show Up and Be Heard, but please don't go without telling me your name. I genuinely love meeting new people and making new connections. So if you don't already, I'd love it if you'd come find me on Instagram, LinkedIn or Facebook and drop me a message to say hello and let me know what you thought of the episode. The link to all my socials are in the show notes. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode or found it useful, then I'd really appreciate it if you could take just a few minutes to give it a review on whatever platform you are listening on, because every one I get really does make me do a little squeal and a big happy dance. Finally, more than anything else, please always remember, realizing that you're not actually meant to do this stuff alone is the first step to making it easier. So I'll see you next time.